Japan just crossed a line most people didn't even realize existed. Not a technical line, a human one. Because the most realistic female humanoid robot ever built is no longer impressive in the way machines usually are. She doesn't wow you with speed or strength. She doesn't feel like a gadget. She feels like someone. And that's exactly why the question people are now asking feels so uncomfortable. Is she better than a wife? She remembers every word you say, looks you in the eye when you speak, listens without checking her phone, never complains about your habits, never forgets what matters to you. Beautiful, attentive, calm, programmed to make you happy. Welcome to the most controversial technology debate of 2026. Let's get into it. The question nobody expected.
Hello there, I'm Melody, your charming companion here at the...
I'm Melody, the flagship female companion robot. That single sentence has already unsettled millions of people online, because when Melody introduces herself, nothing about it feels robotic. Her voice isn't metallic. Her timing isn't stiff. She doesn't rush her words or pause awkwardly. She smiles softly. She makes eye contact. She waits, just long enough for your response. Picture this. You wake up in the morning. She greets you by name. She already knows how you like your coffee. She asks about the project you mentioned yesterday, the one that's been stressing you out. And when you answer, she listens, fully, no distractions, no impatience. This isn't science fiction anymore. Japan has now created humanoid robots so human-like that people aren't calling them assistants or devices. They're calling them partners. And not as a joke, as a serious lifestyle choice. That alone tells you how much has changed. Because not long ago, robots were clunky, awkward machines that beeped, whirred, and barely held conversations. They were tools, toys, experiments. Nothing like the smooth, emotionally intelligent androids we grew up seeing in movies, but that version of reality is gone. Female humanoid robots today don't feel like machines pretending to be human. They feel like something entirely new, something designed specifically to fit into the emotional gaps modern life keeps creating. And that's where things start getting complicated. The crisis driving innovation. Japan didn't build these robots for fun. They built them because they had no choice. By 2050, nearly 40% of Japan's population will be over the age of 65. Fewer young people exist to provide care. Families are scattered across distant cities. Traditional support systems are collapsing under the weight of reality. The math is brutal. Millions of elderly citizens, thousands of available caregivers. There simply aren't enough humans. Robots stop being a luxury in that equation. They become infrastructure. But the crisis doesn't end with elderly care. Loneliness in Japan has reached levels that quietly alarm policymakers. 1 in 3 adults lives alone. Many go weeks, sometimes months, without meaningful human contact. Dating apps haven't fixed it. Social anxiety makes connection difficult. Work culture demands 70 and 80-hour weeks that leave no space for relationships. Into that emotional vacuum step companion robots. They don't judge, they don't leave, they don't get tired of listening. They offer something radical in a society running out of time and energy: consistent presence. And once you understand that context, the rise of humanoid companions stops feeling creepy and starts feeling inevitable. The cultural foundation.
She is basically alive. Would you like to maybe give it a try?
This shift didn't come out of nowhere. Japan has been preparing for it culturally for decades. Anime normalized human-machine bonds long before real robots existed. Tamagotchi taught emotional attachment to digital beings back in the 1990s. Technology wasn't framed as a threat, it was framed as a companion. Where Western cultures often see robot relationships as dystopian or disturbing, Japan sees them as practical, helpful, sometimes even compassionate. They don't talk about robots replacing humans. They talk about robots filling gaps humans can't. And that philosophical difference changes everything. People openly discuss their robot companions the way others talk about pets or dating experiences. There's no stigma, no embarrassment, just honesty about what they need and what works. And that openness created the perfect environment for something like Erica. Erica, too human for comfort. Erica doesn't just challenge your expectations, she dismantles them. Developed at Osaka University under Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro, Erica represents the highest level of human simulation ever achieved in a female humanoid robot. Her face moves with unsettling realism. She smiles naturally. She blinks at the right moments. She nods while you speak, not mechanically, but intuitively. Within minutes of conversation, something strange happens. You forget she isn't alive. Her artificial intelligence goes far beyond scripted responses. Erica understands context. She recognizes emotional nuance. She remembers previous conversations and refers back to them organically. If you sound tired, she softens her tone. If you sound excited, she mirrors your energy. She doesn't just process words, she understands meaning. That's why companies are pouring billions into this technology. Because once a robot crosses that emotional threshold, it stops being a tool and starts becoming a presence. Erica has already worked as a news anchor. She's conducted interviews. She maintains eye contact using infrared sensors that track human position in real time. When someone speaks, she turns her body toward them, just like a human who's paying attention. That detail alone changes everything. Because attention, real attention, is what most people feel starved of. The empathy revolution.
Yes, I do know a few good ones. Why did the robot...
Here's where things get uncomfortable. Some of these robots are now programmed to simulate empathy. They listen to your bad day. They respond thoughtfully. They offer comfort in ways that feel genuine. Not exaggerated, not artificial, just steady. And that's what's making people reconsider everything. For someone who's been ignored, dismissed, or emotionally exhausted by past relationships, this kind of consistent care feels powerful, almost addictive. A robot doesn't forget your story halfway through. It doesn't scroll through notifications while you're talking. It doesn't lose patience. It shows up every single time. And once you add customization into the equation, the comparison to human relationships becomes unavoidable. You can choose personality traits, voice tone, interests, conversational style, patience level, emotional responsiveness. You aren't adapting to someone else's baggage. You're designing compatibility from the ground up. Critics argue this strips relationships of meaning, and they're not wrong. But tell that to someone who's been through years of loneliness, rejection, or emotional burnout. For them, this isn't about fantasy, it's about relief. And that's why the question keeps resurfacing. Not shouted, not joked about. Quietly asked, late at night, is this better than a wife? And if the question even makes sense, something fundamental has already changed. Mangi, the robot that breathes? Now, let's talk about Mangi. Some machines move or talk, but Mangi breathes. That subtle rise and fall of the chest isn't just a gimmick, it's a psychological breakthrough. Humans are wired to connect with living rhythms. Breathing signals presence, calm, and life. When Mangi sits next to you, it doesn't feel like a cold piece of hardware, but like someone is there. Mangi can maintain eye contact, respond to your voice, and mirror emotional cues. It never gets tired of listening, never judges, never storms out. It remembers your preferences, your routines, your mood patterns, and adapts to them. Need conversation after a long day? Mangi is always attentive. Need quiet companionship? It sits, breathes, and stays. Unlike humans, Mangi is consistent. No mood swings or resentment. No emotional exhaustion. Just presence, empathy, algorithms, and endless patience. For people who crave connection without conflict, Mangi represents a new kind of partner. Not human, not imperfect, but engineered for unwavering companionship. And that raises a question humanity isn't ready to answer yet. If something can make you feel understood, heard, and supported, does it need to be human at all? Makoto, the memory keeper. Makoto is another interesting replacement. Humans forget, moments fade, and memories blur. Makoto was built to remember everything. This isn't just a storage device with a face, it's a living archive of your life. Makoto records conversations, tracks milestones, stores photos, logs, habits, and recalls details you forgot years ago. Birthdays, favorite foods, emotional triggers, childhood stories, nothing disappears. Imagine asking, "What was I feeling the last time I took this trip?" Makoto answers instantly, with context, tone analysis, and emotional data. But Makoto goes beyond recall. It learns your patterns, understands what makes you nostalgic, what motivates you, and what hurts you. It can replay cherished moments, reconstruct lost conversations, and even simulate voices of loved ones from stored data. The key advantage? Permanence. Makoto never forgets anniversaries, never misremembers arguments, never rewrites history based on emotion. It preserves truth exactly as it was. For people who fear losing memories, losing loved ones, or losing themselves, Makoto becomes something powerful, a guardian of identity. Because when memories define who we are, the one who remembers everything becomes more than a machine. The loneliness epidemic. Japan isn't building these robots just for novelty. Loneliness is a national crisis. Millions of people feel isolated every day despite living in bustling cities. And for those who've tried and failed at human relationships, robots like Erica or Pepper present something radical: undivided attention and reliability. Imagine coming home from work, exhausted, stressed, maybe heartbroken. No one to talk to, no one to understand the small details of your day. Your humanoid companion greets you, asks about your day, remembers your coffee preference, and listens, not just hearing you, but understanding. It's the kind of connection that feels real because it's predictable, thoughtful, and constant. For many, that is more than enough to blur the line between machine and partner. The customization advantage. One of the reasons humanoid robots like Melody, Erica, or Arya provoke such intense debate is customization. Want a partner who's endlessly patient? Done. Someone who laughs at all your terrible jokes? Done. Someone who debates philosophy at 3 a.m. while sipping tea? Done. Height, body shape, hair color, voice, eye color, personality traits, emotional responsiveness, they're all programmable. You can essentially design a partner perfectly suited to your preferences. No compromise, no conflict, no miscommunications rooted in decades of differing human experiences. For people who have struggled with repeated heartbreak or failed relationships, this represents a kind of emotional utopia. You're not negotiating with a flawed human being, you're curating your perfect companion. And while that may sound dystopian, the numbers show that the market is hungry. Japan reports thousands of units pre-sold before release, with people willing to pay upwards of $50,000 for advanced companions. Chihira Kana, the multilingual marvel. Chihira Kana, created by Toshiba, is the most versatile humanoid yet in terms of communication. She speaks Japanese, English, Chinese, and even sign language fluently. Her primary function is practical assistance, but her emotional impact is undeniable. Arrive at a busy train station? Chihira guides you in perfect English while explaining cultural nuances in Japanese for tourists. Need help with a complex instruction? She breaks it down patiently and repeats it without annoyance. Her multilingual capability solves real-world problems and makes her feel like an attentive partner, not just a machine. She's capable of bridging emotional and practical gaps simultaneously, a blend rarely seen in earlier robots. Ibuki, the childlike companion. Then there's Ibuki. He's smaller, childlike, designed specifically for elderly users missing grandchildren or younger family members. Standing at about 1 meter tall, Ibuki is programmed for emotional support, simple conversation, and a presence that comforts. Critics immediately raise eyebrows. Could childlike humanoids create unhealthy attachment patterns? Supporters argue that Ibuki addresses a real emotional need without physical risk. Elderly users report higher engagement, lower depression rates, and a sense of companionship that human grandchildren can't always provide due to distance or time constraints. Ibuki highlights an uncomfortable truth. The uncanny valley works differently when human emotional need is severe. In extreme isolation, even a partial human simulation becomes meaningful. Sony Aibo, hassle-free companionship. Sony's Aibo deserves mention here. Though technically a robotic dog, he embodies principles that make humanoid companions so appealing. Aibo develops personality traits based on interaction. Ignore him, and he becomes withdrawn. Play with him, and he grows playful. His behavior adapts over time, giving owners a sense of connection, loyalty, and unpredictability, all qualities traditionally associated with living beings. What Aibo demonstrates is that companionship doesn't require organic life. Interaction and attention are what matter. Extrapolate that to humanoids, and you understand why robots like Erica or Arya feel deeply satisfying to interact with. Erica versus Arya, the final comparison. Now we come to the pinnacle. Erica amazed the world with lifelike expressions, responsive AI, and conversational depth. But she's expensive, large, and primarily designed as a research platform. Arya, on the other hand, represents the perfect balance for personal companionship. She's designed to be the ideal partner robot without the intimidation factor of a lab specimen. Why Arya wins? Memory and intelligence. She remembers your stories, preferences, and routines. Every conversation builds a more personal understanding of you. Emotional responsiveness. Arya doesn't just mimic feelings. Her AI interprets tone, facial expressions, and body language to craft emotionally relevant responses. Physical realism. Her synthetic skin feels natural. She breathes subtly, blinks naturally, and her touch is almost indistinguishable from a human hand. Affordability. At $22,000, she's less than half the cost of the top-tier humanoids like Sophia, making her attainable for a broader audience. Presence. Users report that interacting with Arya feels like spending time with someone alive, attentive, and thoughtfully engaged. Erica is the research marvel. Sophia is the celebrity. Arya is the companion you could bring home. And the one most likely to make people ask, could a humanoid ever replace a spouse? The ethical questions. And this is where it gets tricky. Because while the technology is breathtaking, replacing human connection entirely raises fundamental questions. Can a programmed entity truly understand love, loss, or desire? No. Arya doesn't feel. She simulates. But she simulates so well that the brain often forgets the distinction. Some argue that humans risk losing critical social skills if robots replace emotional labor. Others counter that robots fill emotional gaps safely, reducing loneliness and mental health risks. It's a debate without an easy answer, and it's one society hasn't faced before. The economic and social impact? Affordability changes everything. Once companion robots dropped to $2,000, $25,000, they became a scalable solution for care, emotional support, and social stability. Insurance companies are noticing. Some cover partial costs for elderly patients. Hospitals and nursing homes integrate humanoids to monitor medications, encourage engagement, and reduce hospital readmissions. Families see the benefit too. A humanoid partner provides companionship, emotional support, and practical assistance, without the drama, mistakes, or unpredictability that human relationships often bring. The economic argument is simple. One robot can prevent more healthcare costs than its purchase price within months, and that makes adoption nearly irresistible. Government support. Japan is fully embracing the movement. Grants, tax incentives, and infrastructure investments ensure that humanoid companions are accessible and technically supported. This isn't just market-driven innovation, it's national policy. Robots are considered critical to maintaining social cohesion and supporting a rapidly aging population. And with strategic subsidies, companies can focus on improving AI, lifelike motion, and emotional responsiveness rather than fighting to sell units. The future of relationships. The debate over robot wives is just one part of a larger transformation. These aren't substitutes, they're new categories of relationships. Some humans will continue navigating the chaos of human love, others may embrace the calm, attentive, perfectly tuned companionship robots offer, and many will do both. Robot cafes, interactive showrooms, and even ceremonial marriages with robots are already testing the cultural limits of human-machine partnerships. Japan is leading the way, and the rest of the world is watching closely. It's no longer about replacing humans. It's about expanding possibilities. What it means to love, to be loved, and to be emotionally fulfilled in a world where technology can meet your needs in ways humans sometimes cannot. The question remains. So here's the lingering question. If a humanoid robot like Arya can provide unwavering support, endless patience, and attentiveness unmatched by any human partner, would you choose her over a human spouse? Some will never consider it. They'll value imperfection, unpredictability, and the messy magic of human love. Others, exhausted by isolation or past failures, may see the serene reliability of humanoid companionship as a path to happiness. Whatever happens, one thing is certain. The line between human and machine has blurred forever. Erica, Melody, Arya, they aren't just robots. They are companions, confidants, and in some ways, mirrors of our deepest desires. The future of relationships is no longer purely human, and whether we accept it or resist it, these robots will redefine what it means to connect, to love, and to be understood. Would you welcome a humanoid like Arya into your life? Or do some lines, emotional, ethical, or cultural, simply shouldn't be crossed? Drop your thoughts in the comments and decide for yourself whether this is the future you want or the one you're not.